Yo, YouTubers, how you doing? All my homies out there, you alright? This is Roller Coaster Ride channel, coming at you all the way from Merseyside, on the Wirral, in England. How you doing, everybody? Okay? Great. I'm still sober. I still haven't had a drink because I didn't want to do like anyone who's watching who's celebrating the new year, hope you've had a good night and hope it's a good year for you. To me, I celebrated Tuesday becoming Wednesday last night. It was like I watched the fireworks for Tuesday and we entered into Wednesday, and it was a really special Wednesday for me. Today it's been an amazing Wednesday because all I know is 2020 is the year of number one on a dog. Number one on a dog is 2020. There's my friend Duke. There's his bitch Missy, named after a dog. You can actually find a video on my channel of Missy, a dog I used to own, singing, and I'm playing the blues and she actually sings along to it, but you've got to go back in the archives and find it. It's called Is This Bitch Singing or what, or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, how's everyone doing? It's been a while since I put a speech up. Took me time and that, and I've sort of been dwelling on things in a humorous light. If everyone, like I say, hope everyone's had a good night last night and they haven't got hungover. And I thought it'd make a refreshing change if I did this speech completely sober and just speak my mind and got some interesting things to talk about. And one of the main things I'm going to talk about tonight, right? I'm going to talk about two things tonight, two completely separate subjects that could actually be connected, right? I don't know. And later we're going to be talking about diamonds, right? Diamonds. And oh man, that little tiny fly, I can't believe it. That last video I did, this isn't high def, by the way. This is using me a cam, my webcam. That's why the picture quality is not too good, and why I look so old and decrepit. But I've lost me train. Oh yeah, diamonds. Oh yeah, that little fly just went past there. By the way, if you see a little tiny dot flying around, how can a cannabis fly? Flies from cannabis plants. How can I have cannabis plant flies flying around me, and I've got no cannabis? You know what I mean? I don't get it. Someone must be trying to hold me prisoner in a cannabis plant somewhere. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's what those little flies tell me. Anyway, I haven't been high. I haven't had any drink. I've got tons of drink to drink, but I'm saving for a couple of days because I didn't want to actually be involved. I wanted to go through. I have a drink every New Year, you know what I mean? Every time, even if I don't go out or I'm not partying or whatever. Everyone has a drink New Year, don't they? Especially if they're like me, a beer drinker. But I decided to completely evade it because it's what me enemies. I mean, at the moment we're all being pressurised. I'm being attacked, guys. I'm getting this. It's when I go to bed, when I'm in bed. As soon as I turn that light off in my bedroom and I'm asleep, I get these weird noises around me, and it sounds I don't even want to talk about it, I give it any credence, because I always destroy my enemies one way or another. But I am being harassed at the moment, right? And it's kind of pissing me off, but I'm not really bothered. It's the wasting of time. It's only me crash test dummy, you know what I mean? But anyway, two speeches today. Well, two subjects. I'm going to try and stretch out the time so it's a bit entertaining for people to want a bit of a laugh, a bit of whatever, right? And I think they tie in together, right? Because most of us are not used to diamonds, are we, folks? Most of us, you know, you might buy your girlfriend an engagement ring and it's got a diamond on or whatever, right? I'm going to go into that subject later. Of how, it's how I believe the Freemasons and the royalty and what have you, you know, all those characters in life in authority, the harassers or, you know, soldiers of the Queen. If we, you know, if she wants to bully us, they use diamonds to get into our private lives, you know. If this screen flashes because of the light above me being like reflecting, it's not, you know, if anyone's got any epilepsy or anything, just close your eyes, you know what I mean? And because there's nothing to see apart from when I'll show, if I show anything on camera, I'll make sure it's not like, you know, can't really do nothing about it unless I turn it off and use a lamp and, you know. But anyway, diamonds, I think diamonds, I'm into stones, I'm into rocks, I'm into like, you know, I'll do a couple of speeches talking about it. I'm not like a, you know, like a Wiccan or any of that business. Like, I just understand substances like quartz and stones and rubies and whatever. And the reason I did all that, like, because I always suspected that's how the royal family and the rich people were running rings around all of us, you know what I mean? I think that they were using precious stones and precious metals, in particular gold. And these days it's probably platinum, because not many people buy platinum, most people buy gold. And I haven't really sussed out platinum, I've never owned any platinum, but I'll be working on that like soon, right? Most people, you know, the only time we come across platinum, guys, is it comes out of cars through the catalytic converters somehow, and every road in all the roads in America and Britain are coated with platinum. So they're linking us to platinum secretly and they're not telling us, aren't they? You know what I mean? And most of us come across platinum when we shave. You know, the foam, the foil in an electric shaver is coated with platinum because it's a natural lubricant. Do you know what I mean? When you have those razor blades that go, you know, the electric things, they got like a little foil on them, like a brawn or whatever. And it's like usually coated in platinum. And that's and remember, most people shave, they're looking in a mirror, right? Mirrors are very important. Diamonds, mirrors, platinum. I'm talking elemental here, folks, you know. I'm talking about like the way they're just tiny amounts of platinum, aren't they? It's not like we're holding big bars of the stuff. So I've got this theory about diamonds, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more detail later and just explain proof that I know that the rich people or whatever who's controlling whatever, they use diamonds to catch people's eyes as well, you know. Because most of us, the only time we see them is on people's fingers, isn't it? You know, you're in a post office or something and the lady behind the counter's got a nice engagement ring, or in shop windows. Now we can go past jeweller shops throughout town and, you know, H. Samuel and Beaver Brooks and all this, like, and there's like diamonds always in the window, isn't there? We're always going to see them around us. Most people can't afford them unless they're wealthy, right? Okay, so I'll put that on the shelf. I'll talk about that a bit later, right? The point I'm making is that I believe that there's 2 worlds or 3 worlds or 4 worlds, and this is where all these think about it, dimension, diamonds, demons, right? It's demons sounds so close to diamonds, and we just changed the pronunciation, isn't it? You know what I mean? So we say demons. Now I know that like good people aren't going to want demons around them, are they? So they're rocks and they're stones that you could buy a stone off a jeweller and give it to your missus for an engagement present, right? And as an engagement ring, right? And there could be demons inside it, depending on who owned that ring before you or who made it, or because we don't make them ourselves, do we? Normally, you know, we usually buy them. They're already cut. They've been hewn out the earth, and then once people cut them and get to them and polish them, they're putting something in them. Like, that's why I think they're so fast to get to them, you know what I mean? They're making sure that no one can get raw diamonds, you know what I mean? So I just got this thing, right? Which brings me to the possibility of what we call switch, right? Well, I've heard a person in my past, right, using the word switch, right? And he was actually talking to me about my own mum, my ma, my old girl, my owl queen. Not the queen. Meow queen. Everyone's got a queen. Because it's usually our mums. Right, I don't use the mother word because mother to me is like a naughty word. It's like when someone, when someone talks about the parents and they go, my mother, or me mother, they're usually talking about some kind of narcissistic entity that replaces the mother, right? Which is called the switch. The switch is like anyone can intervene and take over our lives pretending to be our mums, right? And I suspected it years ago. When I was going sort of a bit bonkers and that back in the 90s. I used to look at my own mum and think, that's not my mum, it's someone else, Right. But when it was kind of driving me up the wall, you can't argue with your own mum, can you? You can't sort of go like, who are you? Where's my real mum? What are you up to? People start thinking you've gone into... It might be a way of... It's like what they do with the targeted individual stuff. They try and drive you mad so that you start accusing people of doing things to you, right? And the next thing you know, you're in a straitjacket in a cell, padded cell, and everyone's going, you lost the plot, you know what I mean? Or you're in jail or something. And that's the whole master plan of being like targeted, isn't it? Is to make you mad and that, like. But I was actually going through that period of thinking, one day it was my mum and she was just dead nice and pleasant as she always was, like, and then another day I'd be thinking, that's not my mum, it just doesn't seem right. And one of the lads who lived in the area, I believed he was a bit of a kind of like Wiccan kind of type character, you know what I mean? I won't name his name or whatever, like, and he used to call round and he used to talk to me and that, like. But he actually said it to me. It was him that made me think. He kind of blew his own gaff. He gave the game away when he said, I went, my mum's a bit weird lately, you know what I mean? And then he goes, he says something like, why is she like, is your mum acting strange and that? Like as though she's like a different person and she's like giving you different meals for your tea and things like that. And I was like, funny enough, yeah, she is, yeah. And he goes, the switch. Right, but he was like he was mocking me, it was like he was in on it, it was like he knew all about it, like when he said the switch. I was thinking, hang on, what have you got a name for this thing, where someone gets out of bed one morning and the real mum's in the living room talking to them, and then you get out of bed the next day and there's this switch, and that's designed to send us off our heads. And I wonder how many people out there who are watching this, have you ever been through that where your own parents don't even seem like, they look like them, they act like them and everything, and they sound like them and everything, but there's just something missing and not the same, right? And it's designed to send you completely mad, or make you even attack your parents. I wonder how many people have had a fight with the folks, like, or had an argument with them that got deadly serious because inside your natural mechanism, your recognition mechanism, you're going like, it's not me mum, it's not me dad, they're not the same, that's not them. And next thing you know, you wake up the next day and you're kicking off on your real folks and they're going, what's wrong with you? And then they phone an ambulance and you're taken away in by the men in the white coats, you know what I mean? Right. But here's me evidence, right, that I think me mum was going through what I think she was being replaced on a daily basis, in and out, day in, day out. 1 minute she was there and another minute it was someone else, right? And this was mainly the time after my old man had passed on, right? But while my old man was alive, I experienced it with him as well, you see. I've actually got visual evidence, right? I've got a video of my mum and dad watching television one night. And I filmed it because I suspected they were replicants, you know what I mean? I've actually got a video of them both watching the TV. And the way my dad, or he's supposed to be my old man's, looking at me like while he's watching the telly, his face and everything, it was like, he looked like him obviously and all that, but it didn't seem like it was them. It seemed like they were like replicants, right? Okay, it's like Blade Runner, isn't it? You know what I mean? And all of this was all going on while I was going through like LSD psychosis and things like that, right? But anyway, here's me proof that I think me mum was some kind of replicant from time to time, you know what I mean? Like a switch, you know what I mean? my mum had a certain like. I hope if me both me sisters, usually me sisters watch my videos, right? I hope both me sisters are watching, and they watch this particular video, and I'd like their opinion actually, right? I want you to actually tell me if you think I'm imagining things or I'm going mad, right? But you know, my mum, right? She went through a period where you know when they get those catalogues and people knock on the door with them like cleanies or whatever these like mad companies, they knock on the door and they give you the little catalogue and they say to your mum like, you know, you can order things and that and you pay for it, like, you know, when we deliver it and all that. And basically sales people in your face, aren't they? They're just door to door salesmen, really. So you end up your mum. It's usually your mum, it's not usually your old man. It's usually your old girl, your old queen, your ma. In America it'll be my mom, my mom, M-O-M, mom, right? They buy, because these guys or these women knock on the door saying there's a catalogue, you've got to buy things, they sort of tend to buy things that they don't even need, right? And then you end up, there's like all these things in the cupboard that like weird things that have just been invented, like stick on coat hanger. You know, it's like a coat hanger with a suction sticker you put on one of your doors or on a window, right? But it never works. It falls off after 5 minutes, right? Or like these weird mops, like mops, everlasting mops, and you put these like replacement heads on them or something, and they just like break after a week or something. Like, you know, they're usually the crappiest, tackiest things. Or what's another example? Like they always seem to buy one of them brushes, you know, them brushes that you've got like it's got like a velvety surface on it, like, and it's like for getting hairs off your coat and stuff like that, you know. But they wouldn't go out if these people didn't knock on the door with them catalogues. You wouldn't cross your mind to buy them, would they? You know what I mean? They wouldn't be bothered. Your mum and dad wouldn't go out and buy these things in the shops for some reason. They're always items, and they end up, you know, like you'd always end up finding them in the cupboard, unused, still in the packet. You know what I mean? Like weird things, right? And in my in my mum's case, right, my mum had a certain taste, right? Like ornaments and, you know, pictures on the wall, and she was very basic, and she wasn't like Hyacinth Bouquet, you know, like in Keeping Up Appearances. Any Americans who are watching this, check out the series Keeping Up Appearances. Keeping Up Appearances, it's called, where this mad middle-aged woman is like a nutty. She thinks she's the queen, basically. You know, she's got the queen syndrome, you know, like almost middle-aged women get like. But my mum wasn't like that. She wasn't fussy or nothing, right? And she'd be buying these things like everlasting toilet rolls that don't last forever, or, you know, all these weird things, right? But in particular, she bought this one item, which I've actually brought it from me brother. It was in my brother lives in the house where my mum used to live right now, so it's been there all this time. And I just used to look at it and I used to think, I know my mum's tastes, right? I know what my mum's into, I know what she doesn't like and all that, right? I don't think in a million years, right, man, I don't think she'd have bought this item, no matter how much it cost, whether it was like going for 5 pence, right? But it must have been in the catalogue for her to choose it, right? I don't think she bought it in a shop. It was in one of those mad catalogues, you know. I don't mean big catalogues with everything with hi-fis in. I mean, they're just like a little pamphlet, you know, or they like them like things like duvet jackets. You know, like you can buy like jackets and it's a duvet as well. Things like that, you know what I mean? Little weird things like that. They're just weird things, like, or things that, you know, pensioners like a toilet seat that a pensioner can sit on and things like that. I don't know, like a handle so you can lift up the toilet seat so you don't have to touch the toilet seat. Things, you know, little weird things like that. Like, I don't know. But anyways, toilet roll, like ornaments that you put on a toilet roll to make the toilet roll look nice and stuff like that. Oh man. But anyway, I'm going to unveil this item on camera so you can see it, right? And I know my mum, like, would never have bought this in a million years, right? My mum being herself, my ma, my old girl, my old queen, she would never have bought this in a million years, right? I'm going to unveil it now, like, and I think it's evidence that she was a switch sometimes. And what this switch was doing, the switch comes in. It sounds like witch, doesn't it? You know, switch. Right. They come in, and while your real mum's elsewhere on a different parallax or something, it's like it's an identical clone house, living room setup or whatever. You get out of bed and it's all exactly the same, but these guys are professionals, mate. They know how to mess with your head, you know what I mean? Anyway, she bought this item out of the catalogue, right? And I remember seeing it for the first time thinking, what's me mum on? What's she doing? What's she buy that for? You know what I mean? She wouldn't have bought that in a million years, you know what I mean? Right, so I'm going to show you it for the first time. You tell me, guys, say your ma was alive, well, if your mums are still alive or whatever, what do you think of this item? Ask them themselves, go out and ask your mum, say, what do you think of this item Bruce is just showing to the camera? Like, because I'll tell you what, my mum bought this, mate. I'll eat me hat, you know what I mean? I'll eat a pair of underpants I worn for a year if my real mum bought this item. But anyway, here it is. She bought this, like, I don't care what anyone says. My mum wouldn't have bought that in a million years, right? To put it close up, like, look at this. It's a clown, right? It's got, like, I mean, look at it. Look at the shoes on it, man. It's, like, horrible. Right, and it's on this stand. Right. Like a wooden stand. Look at the points on it, like little, like plastic little points. That's the base, right? And underneath it is a musical box. You know, like a musical box, right? Right, now listen to the music. I'll just remove the clown because it's kind of wobbly. It doesn't. Look, there's the back of it anyway. There's like, I mean, it's just the height of bad taste. I don't care what anyone says. It's like, I don't. I think it's vile, I think it's horrible, I think it's hideous, but you look at the hair, it's got like fiery red hair. Have you noticed? It's got fiery red hair. It looks more like a female. It's like Jezebel, isn't it? It's Jezebel in a clown suit, isn't it? It's got fiery red hair, right? You can clearly see the fiery red hair. Look at that, mate. Like Jezebel, fiery red hair clown. Right. I had to kind of, I had to go back to our John, to my brothers and say, look, man, can I take that clown? Because I want, and he's like, don't destroy it. You know what he said to me? You're not going to destroy it, are you? And I was like, fingers crossed behind my back like that, like, oh, no, I won't destroy it. Get over. I love it, like, because my mum bought it, But look at the shoes on it, man. It's hideous, it's horrible, it's just vile, and it's got like, it's kind of padded and everything, like, it's padded, and underneath I think it's got like a sort of wire, I don't know if you can move the arms. No, you can't move the arms. Look at its hands, like, big, like, I'm not doing nothing wrong, man, I'm just a clown, I'm being funny. It's got like a pink dicky bow on, right, so it's showing all the signs of it being a girl, isn't it, you know what I mean, right? I mean, who on earth would want that on their fireplace, mate, or on the shelf or whatever? Like, the pants are green, by the way. I'm sorry about the flashing lights, but that. Green polka dot pants. Emerald green. Right. And it's like a stripy thing. You see, it's got this big, I don't know if you can remove the hat. No, the hat's permanently. Punch its head in, like. I don't know if you can remove its head or hat, like. This just brings the sadist out of me. just brings the sadist out of me without any effort whatsoever. Like, I just want to go around destroying clowns after looking at this, mate. I'll let you look at its face close up so you can, like, see how long it takes before you feel annoyed or intimidated, like. You know. And it's got ginger hair as well, like, you know, like, right, and then I'll just remove the clown from the stand. Look, see the big buttons as well, like big. I'm sorry, man. If I think if I either bought, let's just say I bought my mum that for Christmas or as a birthday present, right? And I turned up and I went, I've got your presents here, mum. I've got a surprise for you. And she opened that. She'd probably kick me out. Never want to see me ever again. You know, my real mum, my mum, my old queen, my old girl. She'd probably go mad. Right, but anyway, I'll just throw that away. punch its head in, like. And what you get, like, is in the base, it's like a spaceship, isn't it? It's made of wood. You know, Tackyville County, here I come, like. You know, and then what you do is you wind it up, and the clown's meant to spin round on the thing, but it's sort of kind of, that's how tacky it is. Look, you can see it's all tacky. It's not even lined up in the centre, and it doesn't actually go on it properly, right? But what you're meant to do is, like, what's that? Oh, is it for release? Is it called for release? Beethoven. Right, thank goodness that's ended. I don't mean like the original piece there. Well, I think it's what it's called, isn't it? Is that for release? Is that what it's called? I think it is. I'm not sure. Like, I'm like, that's how green I am with classical guys. I've had a bit of a kind of anti-classical period recently, you know. But it's all padded. So it's doing the Beethoven music, and it looks like that. And I don't know what it must have said in the catalogue or the description in that way. But, you know, she bought it anyway. When she did buy it, I actually thought to myself, I think my ma's finally lost the plot, you know what I mean? But soon after, this guy says, like, is your mum doing things like buying, you know, cooking meals or things that she doesn't normally do, like, you know, like, the head is made of ceramic, by the way. It's kind of like a proper doll, you know, like one of the, see, it's kind of tough. I'll just hit it with a hammer or something, just like, just like bash its head against the camera. It's like, throw it out. Right. But any of yous out there, would you want that on your bedroom wall or on your, you know, on the shelf in your bedroom or whatever? Like, it's like, you know, it's like the things that horror movies made of, innit? You know, It. You know, it's like It. It's actual It, isn't it? Or, I mean, the Joker's got nothing on this, has he, mate? You know, the new Joker film. This is the Jokess, isn't it? The Jokess. Or the Jokette. You know. The Joker's on me ma, wasn't it? Right, now I mean, if my sisters are watching, right, what do you think of that? Do you think my mum would have bought that? Do you think my mum in the right mind would have bought that? I don't feel it's like, I just want to punch its head in, to be honest. Oh man, get out of my sight. I don't think I'll spare you that, like. Right, so this guy, this dude knocked on the door and said that to me, like, he said, you know, was your mum doing things, blah blah blah, with the Switch? And one of the first things that made me think about it was looking at that, like, you know what I mean, and thinking, oh no, this could be true. There could be someone in my mum's place. And let's just say that whoever was replacing her is trying to intimidate us or make some kind of silent message, some kind of like coy message, like sort of like rights for clowns, or I don't know. We worked in a circus. I think they came from a circus or something. These people, and they're hanging around, and they're like, you know, the Borrowers, the book, the Borrowers, where they creep they emerge out of the floorboards and live in the house and take the food out of your fridge, and you know they're only tiny, so they don't, no one notices them, like, you know. But I just look at the shoes, mate. That's what I can't like. That is just the height of bad taste, that, mate. It really is horrible, isn't it? It's hideous. Now, why would me mum want that? Say she bought it for herself. Say she's like, I like that clown. Say my mum was like, I like that clown. I want that, like. Why? Anyone? Sorry about the flashing lights. Why? I don't know. Help! Help! My mum's been replaced by an alien. I'm scared. I was scared to go to bed while that was in the house, man, you know. But that's one of the items that proves, I think, that my mum wasn't there sometimes. I just don't believe she'd have bought that in a million years, right? Okay. Which brings me to that subject matter, right? But my sisters, if you're out there, right, and if my brother's watching, well, he knows. I've actually asked him about it because it was in his all that time, and I was like, do you think my mum would have bought that, like? And he's sort of like dead flippant. He doesn't seem to get what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? Whoever put that into my mum's head or is pretending to be my mum might have beguiled our John as well. Like, I don't know, you know, I don't know what to say anymore. All I know is it gives me the creeps, man. And, you know, I'll put some, tie a brick to it and throw it in the river Mersey, like, maybe, I don't know, do some kind of ceremony and get rid of it, like, I don't know. We've been cursed ever since that clown was in the house, man. We've had some kind of curse, like. But I don't think my mum would have bought that, man. Not in a million years, right? So this guy's sitting in front of me and he says, is your mum doing the tea different, or it makes she cooking meals that she doesn't normally cook? That was his own words, guys, right? And I was like, yeah, man. And then I thought to myself, hang on, how do you know about this? I didn't say it to him, I just thought to myself, hang on, how does he know? How does he know that my mum isn't being herself and she's, you know, unless he's somehow involved with it, like, you get me, like, it's like being in Salem's Lot or something, or like, you know, like a witchcraft movie, or Rosemary's Baby or something, you know, it was something sinister going on, and I didn't feel happy about it all that time I was there. I mean, I ended up moving out, you know what I mean, but it wasn't like I didn't get on with my mum. I just couldn't handle going from one environment to another from day to day, right? Which brings me to the diamond subject, right? Now, I believe if anyone can do that, right, how else can these guys make it possible for you to be in your house and everything looks the same and the TV's there and all the furniture's exactly the same, but you're not in your own location? You've got this weird mad witch replacing your parents. You know, both of them even, but I went through times where both of them were different, you know what I mean? And they were like, I was like, whoa, this ain't right. I've got visual evidence of it, by the way. Well, I think it's visual evidence. And when I go through my archives and my videos, I've got some great home videos, me, that I like share with YouTube. That's quite funny, but serious in a way, like. But anyway, I'd like the opinions. I would like everyone's opinion, anyone who watches this. So I'm gonna ask you like question, like, would you buy that clown? Would you buy it for your mum? Would you buy it for a friend? Would you buy it for your wife? Would you buy it for your husband? Would you buy it for anybody? Like, who would buy that, mate? Please tell me. Answers on a postcard. Maybe Coco the clown might buy it, right? Maybe the Joker might buy it in the back. Maybe Joaquin Phoenix might buy it. All I know is I wouldn't buy it, mate. I'd pay people to take it away, actually. In fact, we'll have a competition, whoever puts the answers this question, like, what's the middle name of blah blah blah? You can win this clown, you know. But anyway, put the clown down before the clown gets me down, you know, innit? Put the clown down before it gets everyone down, innit? Right. Okay, back to the other subject. Diamonds, right? Now I think diamonds are capable of all kinds of things. Diamonds, demons, right? Dimensions, right? Think about the word dimensions. Now, what did the royal family own? The scepter. And in the scepter is a stone that's like that, mate. It's like it's the biggest cut diamond on earth, folks. Isn't it, right? It's in London in the UK, in England, right? It's not that far away from me. It's about 300 miles away. The entire country could be inside that diamond. It was taken from Africa, wasn't it, I believe? I think it's from Africa. And it was one big diamond, wasn't it? It was one big, huge block that they found it when it was natural. And then they had to chop it up, didn't they, and make it into separate stones, right? And then that's sent all over the world in various bits and pieces, isn't it, right? As far as I'm concerned, that can only be the... Why did he make such a big deal about diamonds? Why do they cost so much? Why are they so... It's just a piece of rock, isn't it, really? Why did they make such a big deal about these things? Why is it so valuable, right? Why are they so expensive if we were going to buy a diamond? If I was going to buy a diamond that big, why would I have to pay millions of pounds when I could buy a house with that? I could buy a couple of Ferraris with it or whatever. For one piece of rock, why is it so important to them? Because inside them are diamonds, like inside the dimensions, and there's probably what we call guardian angels, fallen angels. There's probably entities in there, right, that can replace humanity and pretend to be humans. That's the switch. That's my first theory about the switch. That it could be like you know what the definition of alien is an unwelcome visitor. It doesn't mean you come from outer space. It doesn't mean you come from another galaxy or another planet. An alien could be from anywhere, right, including from inside the earth in diamonds. Why else would they make such a fuss about them, guys? Why questions? I'm asking questions. I want people to put answers if they watch it, you know. Why is it so important to the rich folks to own big diamonds? Why? Right. Now, I did a speech, right, on my old channel, on my King Bruno de Gaulle channel, right. I did this massive speech just before the Olympics. You know, when the Olympics was in London, right? And I did it. It was a speech, and it was what I'm talking about now. I actually spoke about it on this speech about the London Olympics. You know, everyone was going on about the Zion sign on the logo, and remember Zion was in the logo, and it was in the 2012 Olympics? I think it was 2012, wasn't it? And it was a big deal because it was in London, and everyone was going on about it, saying there's going to be terrorist attacks and all this kind of stuff, wasn't there, right? There wasn't any of that, was there, right? Well, I put a speech up, right, speaking about it. It's not there anymore because it was on my old channel, right? And I erased over most of my YouTube speeches because I needed room on my hard drive at the time, right? But people who've seen my own channel might remember it and remember me talking about it because it got quite a lot of views, like, because the title was Zion Olympics London or whatever, right? And then basically what the connection I was making, right, I wasn't interested in them, there's going to be terrorists and all that kind of stuff. My speech was about the stadium, the Olympic Stadium, which is now West Ham United's football ground, right? West Ham United, it became their football ground, but it was built especially for the Olympics. It wasn't there before the Olympics, it was built specially for it, right? And my speech was that the actual stadium was like a big diamond, Right. If you look at it from above or look at it from like an aerial view, I wish I'd prepared some pictures and that to show you, but I'm sure you can go and check it out, right? But it looked like a diamond, and it had like all around the stadium there were like these triangle things, these that was its kind of like characteristic. You know the way every stadium has a little characteristic. The one in China and Beijing was like a bird's nest, wasn't it, right? The one in London looked like a big diamond to me. Well, you know, round the edges, if you were inside the stadium, you were looking up at the lights. They were like triangles, you know, the Illuminati symbol, you know what I mean, right? Now, everyone wonders about what that triangle is, right? Now, I've got a synthetic diamond. I actually used this diamond on that speech, on the original speech to try and get, and you know what? It was getting loads of views, you know, guys. It was like one of me, like, on my old channel, it was one of my most popular speeches because people were relating to the fact that I was like making sense that it just looks like a big diamond, doesn't it? The stadium, you know what I mean, right? It just so happens to be the same year that the Queen had the Diamond Jubilee, wasn't it? Right. And she was on this stage with this big, it looked like a huge diamond about that big, right, on this like weird light, like a lectern thing with a diamond on it, like, and I was asking myself like, why are they bothering with that? Is it got to be an artificial diamond, hasn't it? It can't be a real one that big because no one declared on the earth that existed. But you got to bear in mind that in the Tower of London, in the in London, in the Tower of London, the Crown Jewels, there's an orb, isn't there, like a ball that they hold with the cross on it, like, and it's got diamonds and gems in that, like, you know, don't get enough of them, do they? Right, but anyway, this is a synthetic diamond, right, folks, and because this camera's not too hot, like, I'll take it out the case. This cost me £5 from China, and I'm using it is because I used it on the original speech, right, to explain to people what the triangle is in the Illuminati symbolism on the dollar bill and things like that. You know, the way they say, this little triangle, it's got an eye in it, and it's like the all-seeing eye, right? Well, you know when you look close, I don't know if this will show up on the camera in this kind of light, but you know those little triangles in there. Let's get it right up. It's not very good, this camera, is it? You know, a cut stone, you know the edges, the bits around the edge, you see the little triangles that light up. There's like little diamond shapes and little triangle shapes, and then the top of it is flat, isn't it? That flat surface, right, is called a facet, isn't it? Right, they're called facets. This is a synthetic. It's actually a diamond, folks, but it's synthetic. I got it from China for about £5 on eBay, right? And it's actually lavender coloured, this one. That's why I bought it. It's just a lovely colour. You see the colours? It looks like an amethyst, doesn't it? But it's a synthetic diamond, right? And I use this to describe to people what they were up to with the stadium, why the stadium was designed the way it is. Because if you were in the middle of that, not on the outside, the way they always have that shape, that cone shape underneath, from the inside of it, in the dimension, right, in the dimension, everyone in that stadium, when they done the opening ceremony, it's like they were inside a diamond, right? I'm trying to reflect this so you get what I'm saying with the triangles. You know, the bit that you know, the eye on the dollar bill, it's got an eye in it. Now, if you imagine some rich person sitting down, holding the diamond, looking at it like, because that's all you can do with a diamond, isn't it? You know, anyone who's wealthy enough to, if that was a real diamond, that'd be about, I don't know, £20,000 maybe more. But it was £5 sterling, £5 in English money from China. And it would have took days to make. In that, you know, have you seen how synthetic diamonds are made, guys? They actually use the real seed of a real diamond, don't they? And then but look at the size of it, man. It'd be worth thousands, wouldn't it? Even millions, because it's lavender. You know, the colour's lavender. It's like a purple colour. It's lovely, like. But you see the little the facets as they shine. Well, in amongst those facets, there's a triangle shape that comes. There's little repeated little triangles in there as well. You get me, like just round the edges. And that was what my video was about, right? Where I was telling everyone, like, that's why the stadium looks the way it does, folks. If you want to check it out, it's West Ham United's football stadium now. The whole thing was a big diamond, right? So all the crowd, while they were in there for the opening ceremony, and all the television was watching, the whole world was watching, the cameras are all on. Remember, people all over the world watch the Olympics, don't they, right? And remember what everyone was doing on YouTube? They were saying, don't watch the Olympics, don't watch it because it's a ceremony, it's an Illuminati ceremony. And sure enough, yeah, of course it was. I was watching it to analyse it, you know what I mean? I did record it, like, in case I did a video about it, but I thought, other people were going to put videos on about it, like. But that's what I used when I did the speech. I talked about it, like, saying, and it's quite huge. I can't remember the carats, the size of it, like, but it's quite big, like, but it's a diamond. It's a diamond, but it's synthetic. It's not a cubic zirconia or something like that. It's actually a diamond, right, folks? But do you understand what I'm saying? That in those little facets around the edges, there are little triangles as well. And that could be like your eyeball picked up whilst looking into it, you understand? But that one person who owns that diamond, whose eyeball that is trying to control the whole world, if you know what I mean. Because it's on the dollar bill, isn't it? The dollar bill. Bill. Bill, the dollar bill. Right. Yeah, sort of shine it like, shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like. I've got some raw diamonds, by the way. I bought raw diamonds off eBay and they're quite cheap, well, it was like 30-40 quid, but I bought them to analyse the real substance diamond, the real substance. And you know what? There was no real difference between this and real diamonds, if you get me, like when I was analysing the thingy, right? So, that's what my speech was about. It was explaining that the Zion Olympics in 2012 was something to do with the whole stadium being a diamond, right? But how many people were watching when it was broadcast, when it was shown? Like the whole planet, isn't it? The whole planet, because you got every single country from around the world in the stadium doing marches, there's athletes from every country. It's not just London, is it? Or Britain, America, Russia. Every country have athletes in that stadium when the Olympics was starting. So you can imagine the whole stadium being the hub at the centre of the earth while it's all happening, through the media. Which is a kind of very clever way of everyone being suckered into being summoned into the dimension. And the Queen was there. I always remember it because the Queen was there, right? And, Danny Boyle was he actually choreographed the opening ceremony, right? And you think of the atmosphere, I think there was a bit of anarchy going on there, because while the Queen's sitting there, they put Pretty Vacant on by the Sex Pistols, full blast, and it must have been loud, mustn't it, through the PA system? Like, you seen the Sex Pistols come on all of a sudden going, "We're so pretty," and think about the Queen watching it, like, thinking, the Sex Pistols, do you know what I mean? God save the Queen and all that, like. I actually think Danny Boyle's an anarchist. Because he likes Banksy as well, doesn't he? He made a documentary about Banksy in the Middle East, in Palestine, right? So put two and two together, like, I think Danny Boyle was doing a little bit of a checkmate there, like an anarchy thing, by putting the Sex Pistols on that show, like in the opening ceremony. It's a bit of kudos to Danny Boyle if he really meant that, like, I don't know. Right? But in the same speech, when I was talking about all that, I've just tried to break it down there and speak about, like, in the same speech, right, I actually went on to prove, proof that they do use diamonds to trick people and catch our eyes, right? Like, for example, thousands of tourists will go and see the crown jewels, won't they? Thousands of tourists from all over the world will go all the way to London, to the Tower of London, and just look at those stones through a glass window Never able to touch them, never able to hold them, never going to take them home, are they? They've got to go look at them, and then they go back home after their eye has gone into them diamonds, isn't it? You know what I mean? From all over the world, there must be people going whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And there's some kind of element that it steals your soul, right? Now, to prove that diamonds do have some kind of existence, right? Some kind of what's the word, like guardian spirits or something, right? Demons, right, folks? To prove this, right, have you heard some of the stories about major heists when diamonds are stolen, right? And the thieves, when, you know, think about it. If I nicked a diamond tomorrow that was like that big, you'd think you'd be like made for life, wouldn't you? You'd run away with it, like, and you don't want to give it back or whatever, like. Thieves actually hand diamonds back because it was sending them mad. Now think about that, like, they actually, there's loads of stories about it where, you know, there's a stone called the Moonstone and it's a diamond and it's been stolen a couple of times, and every time it was stolen, the thieves anonymously handed it back because they couldn't handle whatever was going on in their heads. It's like something's going, you better take this back or we'll make your lives a misery. You know, it's just a rock, for crying out loud, isn't it? But something makes them take it back, man. You know what I mean? Something makes them take that stone back because it's stolen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've had stones nicked off me. I've had a sapphire stolen, not precious, not really expensive ones, but raw sapphire, ruby, where they just disappeared, and I think to myself, man, if them diamonds are anything to go by, whoever's took them, I'd never steal a diamond off anyone because I know it'd send me off my head. You don't understand? I'm allowed to sort of like nick things from a shop, or, you know, a bar of chocolates off a shelf or something, not worry about it, like corporately, like, you know. But if you steal someone's engagement ring, or, you know, you break into someone's house and you steal diamonds off someone else, or sapphires, rubies maybe, but it's usually diamonds that send people mad. And we only call diamonds, don't we? Don't we call rubies, sapphires. Corundum, sapphires and rubies are red and blue, aren't they? You know, and you can get them all colours. You can get yellow sapphires, yellow rubies. People don't realise that. You can get them all different colours, right? But we only call diamonds, don't we? Demons. So at the top of the level, like, you know, they say hardness scale, which is 10, isn't it, in diamonds? I think there's entities in there. I think, like, alien greys or whatever you want to call them, like, there's got to be some kind of angelic entity that, like, is the guardian of those stones, and they're what send people mad and make them take. I mean, why would a thief want to take a stone back to a museum or send it back to the owner? Go, like, you know, little note in it, like, here is your rock back, I apologise for stealing it, please call off these demons. Like, they can't handle it, they have to give it back, you know what I mean? Right. And there's me, you know, are you with me so far that they've actually got something in them, like, that's like, it's got to torment them? How can and I'm say that, look, it's a piece of rock. How can a piece of rock, an abstract piece of rock, send the man crazy enough to send it back? You know what I mean? How can it do that? And I'm sure that happens to most thieves if they steal someone's possession, you know, like personal possessions, like. You know, I'm sure something emerges from it, like, and eventually makes them so crazy they have to send it back, right? And then here's me other, like, sort of mad. This is the sort of, like, the epilogue, the climax, the finality of my story regarding diamond. He's with me so far about, like, demons, switches, people messing with your head, your mum's an imitation, your dad's an imitation, you're not too sure about your wife or whatever, you're thinking, oh, they seem different today, you know. Check out, you know, mirrors, diamonds. It's got to be something to do with that, from my perspective, right? The Millennia Dome. Does anyone remember the Millennia Dome? It's called the O2 Arena now in London, right? Now, when the Millennia Dome was opened, right, it was a massive deal. It was, like, hyped to the max, right? I can't remember the year. Was it 2000? I'm not. Well, it was the Millennia Dome, wasn't it? So it was just another little landmark, isn't it? Like 2000, the Millennia Dome, right? And you know what they ended up doing, don't you? They ended up converting the Millennia Dome the Millennium Dome to the O2 Arena because all the tourists that went there were so disappointed in how crap it was that the people stopped going there and they ended up having to do something else with it, and they turned it into a theatre, didn't they? Into a rock venue, you know, right. And how many people out there watch EastEnders? You know, the soap opera, like and you basically, you had to, if you were gonna watch, if you were forced, like in my case, were forced to watch the Millennium, you know, EastEnders, because I hated the program. But you know, when you're in your living room with your folks and you gotta watch it, like, you know, we seen the Millennium Dome on the satellite, didn't you? You know, like a satellite view of the River Thames, and that like circle was always there, wasn't it, visible from space? The Millennium Dome. And no one liked it. It was crap, right? And if you went into it, right, I've always had the suspicion, right, I've always suspected that the royal family are charlatans, right? You know, the original royals are meant to be some guy in Australia or something, isn't it, right? But I've always suspected that the royal family started off as a circus. I know it sounds crazy, right, guys? To me, you know, like the Romans always have a circus. And I've always had the suspicion that a circus of some kind, man, and they've got the feet under the table in the country, and everyone, and they've made enough money to sort of trick everyone to think they're like royals or regal. You know, there's some kind of seed in the background, and it all starts with circus acts. You know what I mean, right? But if anyone went to that Millennium Dome when it was at its peak, if you want to call it that, like when it was first opened, there was a circus in there, wasn't it? There was people on trapezes, you know, doing, you know, on swings and everything, like, and tightrope walkers or whatever. Like, it was a circus, basically, a glorified circus, right? No one likes a circus, do they? No one likes circuses, do they, really? Like, you know what I mean? Everyone hates them, really. Like, I don't know why people still go to them myself, like, but, you know, circus people, cruelty to animals, somersaults and jumping around. Like, who cares about all that, man? Right, but anyway, here's the crazy story, right? I'm sure the Millennium Dome was something to do with the circus, and I'm sure the royals have always used the circus thing, right? Like Wild Buffalo Bill, you know, Bill Cody, Buffalo Bill. He was a circus, wasn't he? He was a free-ring circus originally in the Wild West before he was killing and stealing buffaloes off the Indians and that, like. And in the Millennium Dome, right, they had these like museum pieces. You know, museum pieces where you go around and there's like little glass cases with displays. Now I know my elder sister went to the Millennium Dome while it was open and that, like, you know what I mean? And I bet she thought it was crap. I bet she thought it was crap. I don't know. I haven't asked her. But right, there was all these like sideshows like you see in like fairgrounds, you know, like fairground people and circus people, they're all sort of similar, aren't they? You know what I mean? I'm not talking about gypsies who are travellers. I'm talking about the rich. They've got their own machinery and circus things and whatever, and animals and livestock. They're not poor, are they, at all? They've got like money, like, and they take money off people to do the shows, and they're like aliens to me, most circus people. They're not like normal people, are they? You know, the way they are, like, they're doing things that like an alien could do, like superhuman feats, aren't they, really? You know, because most people don't want to somersault all over the place, do they? You know what I mean? But anyway, I noticed when they opened the Millennium Dome, right, there was the Millennium Diamond, and it was one of the biggest diamonds in the world, right, folks? It was quite a huge rock. It was like supposed to be this big oval shaped rock, this pure diamond, right? And it was in a glass case. And people were coming from, there's actual nutcases, there's actual, you know, like you'd have plane spotters and train spotters. You'd have people who go specifically to see diamonds, believe it or not. You know what I mean? They go all over the world to go, like, seeing this diamond and that diamond. They're like proper anoraks. We call them anoraks, you know, like nerds and geeks. Who go, I saw the Millennium Diamond last year, and they've been to London to see the Millennium Diamond, right? Now, It's in a glass case, just like the crown jewels, right? It's in a glass case, and you go in a queue, you stand there, and then you go up to this glass case, and you get to see the stone through the window, you know, and you go, wow, there's the Millennium Diamond, right? Now here's the proof there's something shady is going on with diamonds, right? The stone got robbed, right? Check it out, go back into history, go back on YouTube or whatever, or Google or whatever, and check out the Millennium Diamond robbery, right? Now this is where they really shot themselves in the foot, folks, the authorities. This gang of like, you know, like Ronnie Biggs kind of thing, proper heavy duty thieves. They drove a tractor through the building, through the glass window or whatever, to get to the Millennium Diamond, right? They smashed the glass case, right? They took the stone, they actually got the stone. These guys are thinking like, it's worth millions. We'll be rich for the rest of our lives when we sell this rock to some oil sheik in Saudi Arabia or something, like, if they got away with it, right? And they did sort of like do a runner with it, like they actually got, like, it was on the news, right? They got so far away with it, like, and then, but they eventually got caught by the police, right? The police caught them because they were in London, right? They got caught and they got arrested or whatever, and I don't know if they're all still in jail. I'd be interested to see, did they go to jail, how long for, whatever. They obviously went to jail for it, right? Here's the crux, here's the strange part, right? On the news, you know what, the way the news, the medium, they sort of like to gloat and boast about things. They said the thieves got away with the diamond and that, but they were eventually caught by the police, right? And then they said, this is where they blew their own gaff, right? They said, but the thieves don't realise, if they'd got away, it wouldn't have been any use to them anyway, because the stone they took was a replica, right? Replicants, you know, clone, replicant, switch, right? The stone was a replica diamond that was on display, right? And the actual real Millennium Diamond was in I'm trying not to swear, I don't want to swear in case I get, you know, blocked by YouTube or whatever, like. It was in a strong box, what we call a safe, just behind the display. In the same building, it was actually in the Millennium Dome or whatever, like, but out of sight, and the public couldn't even see it. Now, what's the point, right, in telling everyone there's a diamond in a glass case on display, a replicant, a synthetic? It was obviously a synthetic, or even a piece of glass that just looked like a diamond, right? What's the point? What's the point of putting a replica stone on display for all the thousands of tourists to go and look at, and they think they're looking at a diamond, right? But in the darkness, think about it, dark matter, dark space, whatever, you know, like what we call dark matter. It's in a bag or something, or in a box, in a safe, and no one can see it. And but it's in the same building. Everyone's going there to look at this diamond, right? And if it wasn't for the thieves trying to steal it, think about this, folks. If it wasn't for that gang of thieves trying to rob the original diamond, we would never have been told on television or on the news that there's a replica in the glass case all along, right? And what they must have been doing was, one day the real one was on display, right? And then another day the replica's on display. And then another day the real one's on display. So they were alternating it and switching it, so that, like, or they might have only showed it once and once alone, and then left it in the safe, and then all the tourists were all looking at this, like, replica diamond. They came especially just to see it, like, they were looking at a replica anyway, like. But if it hadn't have been stolen, right, the news, they actually made a mistake telling us that it was like, if the thieves would have got away with it, they wouldn't have had any joy anyway if they tried to sell it, because it was just a replica. The real one was locked away in a safe out of sight. And I was sitting there watching the news thinking, oh man, why would they do that, man? Why would they put a replica stone on display. I mean, what's the point? It's apart from like catching people's eyes. I'm still actually like, what on earth are they thinking? Why would they tell people there's a diamond there and it's not even a real diamond? Right, and obviously the thieves, imagine how the thieves must have felt when they were told that, like, it's like, we just risked everything. They all got banged up in jail trying to run away with a piece of glass or a piece of quartz or a piece of cubic zirconia or a synthetic diamond. I don't know what it's supposed to be. But I'd like people's answers on a postcard, right? Why on earth do you do that, like? But it proves that they're up to something using diamonds to catch people's eyes, or, you know, it's like a magician doing something and they show you something and it disappears all of a sudden, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Something strange, isn't it? Like, you know. Anyway, I don't even think that's if it's even interesting. I just thought, like, it was playing on my mind, right? Because I think the rich folks, I think the royalty and all the big imperialists, right, guys, Illuminati, all those people, it's all based on diamonds and demons. And sure enough, I've witnessed these, like, entities in stones, you know what I mean? I've actually witnessed it, like, where they do exist. And it's, say someone steals one of your stones, or you know, if your wife's got a nice engagement ring and it gets stolen, the thieves probably haunt it for the rest of their lives, as long if they don't sell it, you know. But most people sell things, don't they? Like, and it's just bad luck wherever it goes, like, you know. But anyway, I think I'll wrap it up. I think I've done long enough. Well, how long have I been on it? Oh, I've been an hour. I've hit the hour mark. So anyway, that's my first speech, and the reason I'm doing it's 2020, isn't it? Right? You know what I mean? I'm wondering what they've got lined up for us with the you know, the big, like, 2012, 2020. What are they gonna think of next? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I'd love anyone to answer. Like, if anyone's out there and you can tell me what's the point of putting a replica diamond on display and a real diamond out of sight. It's dark matter, isn't it, guys? It's what they call dark matter. While it's wrapped up and it's out of sight and the lights are off, you know what I mean? There's no light passing through it. That's your dark matter, isn't it? You know, inside the Millennium Dome, which has now become a theatre for rock bands because the circus and everything was so disappointing. They're just eye catchers. It was an eye catcher all along, like. And so was the what's it called, the crown jewels. Exactly the same. But that's how important gems are, right, folks. That they've got some kind of skullduggery going on where they catch people's eyes and that, like. That's, you know, what they call an eye catcher. You know what I mean? And yeah, if you look at the Olympic Stadium, it was based on a diamond. So, diamonds, and by the way, the word diamond being connected to demons, I never even saw it for years. I didn't have a clue, right? And there used to be a guy on YouTube, if he's out there and he ever watches this, his name was Paul Muckle. He was sound, he was kind of like a philosophical wisdom, his channel used to be called, and it was him. He actually mentioned it. He went, think about it, man, demons, diamonds. And I was like, wow, I've never even seen that, you know, that the word demons is close to diamonds, isn't it? You know, they could call them something else, couldn't they? They could call them, like, you know, they call rubies, sapphires. Why not call diamonds something else, like? But they changed it, haven't they, so we don't notice the word demons. But anyway, I'll let you dwell on that one. And I've got some more. I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't know. I'm not even drunk either. I haven't even had a drink of alcohol, and I haven't had a cup of tea. I've got a cup of tea there. I didn't realise it's gone cold. Cup of green tea with echinacea, folks. Echinacea, or echinacea, keeps the colds away. Infections and that, like. If everyone's getting a cold, just get your body full of echinacea. And I mean, like, bombard your body with echinacea. It's amazing. It keeps the colds away. I've had, like, little... I used to get the flu and the colds every year. I don't get them anymore. And I hammer this stuff, echinacea, you know. It's amazing. You're boring, man. Anyway, I'm getting off. It's been an hour. I'll upload it immediately. Should take a while. Yeah, 2020. I've launched my YouTube 2020 adventure with a speech. In case anyone wanted to do a missing me or thinking, come on, Bruce, well, you haven't spoke for ages. Why is that delaying and going like a ghost? All of a sudden it's going weird and delaying. So I'm getting off anyway. Well, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more speeches. And don't forget, folks, 2020, I'm going out and about. I'm going to Scotland first, if it's possible. I'm going to play in Glasgow if I can first. I've never been to Scotland. I've never been to Scotland. And I'm going there to play my guitar and sing some songs. Okay, going to play me songs in Scotland, in Glasgow. If anyone's watching in Glasgow and you can put me up and give me somewhere to stay and sleep, please get back to me. Okay, I would really appreciate it. Like, otherwise I'm gonna have to stay in a hotel. But yeah, I'm going to Scotland first, folks. That's my mission, my first mission, 2020 spring, when it warms up a bit. Like, I'm taking me music and me guitar or whatever to Scotland. I'm gonna do Number One on a Dog live in Glasgow, 2020. That's gonna be my first venture out into the, playing me music in the streets and that, like. So stay tuned for that, folks. It's massive. I've never been to Scotland. Like Braveheart, going to Scotland. Hey, you got your Braveheart being there. Going to Scotland for the first time in my life. Alright, I'm getting off, and it's still going to be in Euro, the Euro thing, Brexit and all that. Like, I might move to Scotland if people like me there, right? I'm thinking of moving to Scotland, folks. If, because I think Brexit is a mistake. I actually think it's going to be a mistake. So I'm thinking of relocating to Scotland. I think they'll love me there. I think they'll love me more than the English do, you know what I mean? I actually think I'll be made welcome. But that's the proof of the pudding's in the eating. I'm going to do a live show in the streets in Scotland, in Glasgow, and we'll see what the public think of me there, won't they, compared to England and that, like. Alright, thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the speech. I hope you enjoyed the clown. Like, I haven't. I'm not going to enjoy that clown either, you know what I mean? I want people to post a message underneath. Do you want me to publicly throw it off a building? Do you want me to throw it off a mountain? Throw it off Mount Snowdon? And try to get rid of it? Like, the curse of the clown. The curse of the ginger-haired clown. Space that, like, Alright, I'm getting off. It's been over an hour. An hour and 12 minutes. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you've sat through the entire thing, I thought I'd give you value for money and do a full-blown speech for the first day of the year. And I wasn't even drunk. I wasn't even buried. And I didn't say a single naughty word. So there you go. Alright, thanks for watching. God is awesome. Ciao.